morning, good early morning on Monday, July 18th. I was just unraveling after such a busy Sunday. So much happened with the World Championships. Every 2 years is the World Championships. And wow, what an amazing, wow. Let me make sure there's no echo here. There we go. No more echo. So I'm just grateful for what's taken place over the past week, you know. So I'm glad. I'm glad. So a lot to cover, but I'm grateful there's a lot to cover in this past week, since my last YouTube. July 16th, today's July 18th. Four important people were born on this day. Well, three that's coming to me immediately that were born on this day. My auntie Starletta, who is my artistic professional mentor, who performed in two of my plays, two different readings. She performed the unforgettable Mother of Savannah in Forrest Whitaker's film Waiting to Exhale. And she also performed the Mother Elizabeth of A. Philip Randolph in my play, Negro Principles. An amazing stage actress. She won the Manchester uh, Periodicals Award for Best Actress when she performed Lena in A Raisin in the Sun. She's one of the few actresses on stage to perform Lena, to perform Benitha when she first came to New York as an actress, and she performed Ruth, unforgettably Ruth Younger, in Lorraine Hansberry's A Raisin in the Sun, directed by Harold Scott and Bill Duke. You can see that online. So I want to shout out Starletta Dupois, my aunt Florence Mirage, my mom's brother's wife, Aunt Florence, was born on this day, and she and I has had awesome spiritual conversations. She's born July 18th, and a dear friend of mine who got me my first really big speaking gig at Pacific Lutheran, Maurice Eckstein, is July 18th. So I'm grateful for the people in my life born July 18th. Also, July 16th was 2 days ago now. Today is Monday, technically, and Saturday was Saturday, July 16th. And I posted about these particular individuals, powerful women who were born July 16th. The first is Barbara Lee. Barbara Lee, I interviewed Barbara Lee about her book, Renegade for Peace and Justice. So I'm grateful for that. That was an amazing book. And one part of it really struck me. And I'm wearing this Team USA, I was born in the USA, I fight for the USA, and I love my necklace with the USA. Son of Black immigrants, Jamaican immigrants, born in the USA, trying to make it better, working, writing, acting, moving to make the US better and fulfill its democratic promise, its claimed democracy. So I wanted to just look at an amazing part of Barbara Lee's book called Renegade for Peace and Justice. This was the part where she mentioned that she voted against the war. She had that historic vote in the US Congress on September 13th, 2001, when Congress voted whether to invade Iraq. And she voted against that. In this part, she talks about the consequences of voting against that war in Iraq. She said, as a result of my stand, I received thousands of hate letters and emails and received so many death threats that the Capitol Police recommended that I have protection. The fact that fellow Americans could hate me enough to want to kill me was terrifying, and it only proved how easily dissent and debate can be stifled and how our democracy can be quickly eroded during a national security crisis when just the opposite should be true, she says. I resented the invasive necessity of having bodyguards around me and the various ways it disrupted my life and freedom, but I will always be grateful to the Capitol Hill Police for protecting. So this is an important thing to know, that because she stood up against war, she was attacked, even though she's voted several times for war 2 decades after this vote. So, I'm wondering, this no vote might be a simple drop in the bucket compared to all the military actions she's approved since, but she's still a very important presence in the US Congress, given her history being mentored by the late great Shirley Chisholm, given her history as a member of the Black Panther Party. Her insight and her perspective is like no other congressperson serving now. So we thank her for her service, but we also call it a task when we believe she's just doing the Democratic Party's bidding. And the Democratic Party now in 2022 is unrecognizable from the Republicans in terms of its support for war, in terms of its support for the Bush tax cuts that Obama was supposed to let expire but didn't, in terms of military spending. It's just out of control. So we got to continue to hold our elected officials accountable. But I had to recognize her on this day. This page is from, let's see, that's the 22nd chapter of Paula Giddings' book. Ida, A Sword Among Lions. And I really like that particular part. Let me see if I can, okay, that might be a better view. Yeah. So this part, there are certain parts of, this is a long book. I mean, it took me a while to finish it, but I did because of the compelling way Paula Giddings wrote it. And I had the pleasure of being with her at least twice. I remember last at Professor Toni Morrison's service in November of 2019 is when there's a wonderful photo of me, her, and Edwidge Danticat. And then I saw her earlier, 3 years before that at the Schomburg Center to recognize Professor Morrison. Yeah, we had a brief conversation in the Langston Hughes Auditorium. But this particular part, there are different parts that affect me at different times that Paula Giddings wrote that I'll just open my book and just start reading. Because Ida B. Wells, wow, what a brave journalist. You know, one of the things Ida B. Wells, the reason I am highlighting this part is because another person's birthday that is on July 16th, besides Barbara Lee, is Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells' birthday is July 16th. And who also recognizes her besides me is the incredible journalist Ron Hurd, who's based in Memphis. And his handle is, if you Google him, We All Be, that's the name of his independent channel, his independent YouTube, We All Be TV. And he's done some great interviews about Ida B. Wells, about his own heritage. And what Paula Giddings has written is an incredible. By the way, if you're just watching this live now, don't hesitate to comment, share, like. Comment, share, like, and subscribe. All right, comment, share, like, and subscribe. So this past Saturday, the 16th, was the birthday of the amazing Ida B. Wells, who's a journalist like myself, independent. It was not corporate. She founded a press that was given to her by the people. Nightingale in Memphis gave her the press that she turned into the Memphis Free Speech. And there's certain parts of her life that really inspire me to tell the truth and how the masses are depending on us not to be bought out, not to have our silence bought. And she was definitely a July 16th cancer woman who would not allow her silence to be bought, It's one of my favorite parts of the whole biography in the 22nd chapter. What page is this? I believe this is page 573. She's talking about government officials visiting her house after she chose to make buttons in support of the 24th Infantry U.S. soldiers in Houston who defended a Black woman named Sarah Travers. And the reason they defended her was because she was being attacked by white men. So she was making buttons. This part of the biography, Paula Giddings writes, Ida B. Wells making buttons. And what Giddings writes here, predictably, Ida was soon visited by 2 intelligence officers who warned her that if she continued to distribute the buttons, she would be arrested. And her bravery is just like, wow. It's just inspiring because she's not letting these intelligence officers intimidate her. On what charge? Ida demanded. Treason, riposted the smaller of the two men. She was not guilty of treason, she said, but if you think I am, you know your duty. Somewhat taken aback, the agents then said that they were going to confiscate the buttons because they were critical of the government. The government deserved to be criticized, Ida, July 16th, told them, for hanging soldiers as if they were criminals. Ida was very clear. They were defending Black women's honor. But when they defend Black women's honor, they're repaid with being lynched. And she absolutely had every right to distribute the buttons. This is why Ida B. Wells is such an incredible force. And then what she said about the Black Republicans in her time taking money to basically have their silence bought. She was a journalist like no other, like no other, like no other. Paula Giddings writes, when reminded that few took the stand that she did, she said that she'd rather go down in history as one lone Negro who dared tell the government that it had done a dastardly thing than save her neck by being quiet. It would be an honor, she added, to go to prison under such circumstances. So I just want to lift up Ida B. Wells as we pass July 16th yet again. This is going to be my 43rd time passing it. Yes, 43rd time, and I'm grateful to know about her and to study her and to study people who've written about her. Thank you, Paula Giddings, for writing this incredible work. Another July 16th, a powerful July 16th force is Assata Shakur, the incredible political prisoner who was accused of robbing a bank. And in this particular part, I have the ebook here. So in this part of her autobiography, she's talking about how she was treated in the actual courtroom when her aunt, Evelyn Williams, was defending her. And she's what Assata is saying in this part of the biography is that her aunt is narrating for the court and for people like me who are going to read years after this happens, how Assata was treated and why Assata thought it necessary as a political prisoner to leave the country because she did not believe she would get a fair trial. And based on this part of the excerpt, we understand why. She says here, Assata, the judge had ordered that I am to be photographed today now and that all the force necessary to take the pictures in the way the FBI wants to take them is to be used, Assata writes. The FBI, the marshals, and I end up on the court. Notice how she put courtroom, spelled it with a K, courtroom floor with me on the bottom. I hear Evelyn, that's her aunt who's her lawyer, in the background. Let the record reflect that the marshals are twisting my client's arms behind her back. Let the record reflect that the marshals are choking my client. Let the record reflect that there are 5 marshals manhandling my client. Evelyn goes on and on while the marshals twist me, Assata, jerk me, strangle me, kick me, and literally try to beat me into submission. The assault goes on and on with Evelyn putting it blow by blow into the record. Finally, it is over. The marshals lead me back into the holding pen. I lie on the bench like a rag doll with the stuffing hanging out, feeling like I've just been stampeded by a herd of buffalo. Evelyn comes back for a lawyer's visit. She looks just as tired as I feel. That was unbelievable, she exclaims. How's your arm? Are you okay? More or less, I tell her my body is aching and my bad arm's numb. I sit back marveling at how cool Evelyn has been. It dawns on me how hard it must have been for her to watch what was happening and then calmly put it into the record. I was amazed at her control. She insists that a nurse be called to check me out. And when Assata is talking about her arm here in this particular part of the autobiography, I'm remembering, if you're watching this, please comment. Because I know I'm starting this late and I'm recording this late because of the World Championships and my celebration after the amazing World Championship events tonight. When Assata is talking about her arm being twisted by the marshal, I'm immediately remembering her interview with Gil Noble and her narrating how the bullet got in her arm. And you understood from that interview and from this autobiography why she had to leave the country, because she did not get a fair trial because of a trumped up charge of the accusation of killing a New Jersey state trooper. And when you really read the autobiography, you see how trumped up that charge was. You see how the trooper opened fire first. You see how aggressive the New Jersey state troopers were in following the New York state ruling to prosecute, just going with the flow, just declaring her guilty and behaving as if she was guilty and criminalizing her. Aside from that, so many tidbits you get. I encourage all of you. Assata is also July 16th. So that's why I'm talking about Assata Shakur now. She's born July 16th in the 40s. And if I remember correctly, her father is from Martinique. Um, and her government name is Chesimard. But she's so clear on her identity. And the part from the autobiography, this is not on this section, but I remember her being at Borough of Manhattan Community College and being radicalized in that college about US foreign policy and feeling ashamed about believing what the newspapers and the television told her about what US policy was in Vietnam, what US policy was in the rest of the world, in Africa. And she talked about being having an African student, I forget the student's name, that she was in a club with, and him correcting her, and how that was the beginning of her radicalizing. That was the beginning of her having a totally different perspective that made her willing to hear what the Black Panther Party was saying. So check her autobiography out. Assata, an autobiography. Assata Shakur, born July 16th. So the reason I was so late today with my YouTube, I was just savoring, taking in every moment of this World Championships. The World Championships. There's a big ambulance going on behind me, but you guys can hear me. Congratulations to Shelly Ann Fraser Price for earning her 5th World Championship gold medal. And very often I watch her race in 2008 in Beijing because that was the beginning with Otto Bolden and Tom Hammond commentating for NBC. This was an amazing race. This was an amazing final. I saw Shelly Ann run her heat. I saw Shelly Ann run her semifinal. And I saw Shelly Ann run this final. And it was once again a sweep, Jamaican sweep. Shericka Jackson earned the silver, who's been running the 200 excellently. I look forward to see how she'll do in the 200 at these championships that begin tomorrow. And then the Olympic double gold medalist, Elaine Thompson-Era, earned bronze. So I'm so glad they swept again. And it was an amazing feat. Shelly Ann Fraser Price's form is incredible. I always remember with what Shelly Ann Fraser told Bob Newmeyer in 2008 when she won her first Olympic gold. When he asked her about winning, she's like, I didn't, there was no do or die, she said. There's 2 tidbits Shelly Ann has given me. That one, but later, that's not the tidbit. What she said to Bob Newmeyer is, I have to work on my reaction time. And what I saw 2 times it happened. It happened in the semifinal with Shericka Jackson. Athletes false started. And you false start when your reaction time is below 0.1. So it's not bop, bop. It's not bop, rather. It's bop, bop. It has to be a 0.1. It has to be a 0.1 pause after 0.1, 1/10 of a second before after the gun is fired. If you do it before that 10th of a second, you false started. And I think her name is Tania Gaither from Bahamas is the sprinter that false started, and she couldn't believe it. And when you look at it on the camera as Otto Bolden commentated, you can't see it with the naked eye. You can't see false start with it, but the computer will say this athlete false started because the reaction time is less than 0.1 seconds after the gun is fired. So I mean, never, I don't think she, maybe somebody can correct me. I've never seen Shelly Ann Fraser Price false start. Never seen Elaine Thompson-Era false start. Never seen Sharika Jackson false start. It's just like Devin Allen false started in the hurdles and Tania Gaithas false started in the hurdles. And I'm so glad Jarnell Hughes, who's the men's 100-meter runner, did not false start because he been false start. Oh, he false started the Olympics, which might have turned the tables maybe for Fred Curley to get him to get gold. But what an amazing run for Shelly Ann. The other tidbit Shelly Ann said, and I forget who she said it to. Shelly Ann said her greatest competitor is herself. And that always stayed with me. That always stayed with me. And that's not, I love track because it's such a metaphor for life. And when you hear Shelly Ann Fraser Price say that, it's like, yeah, your greatest competitor really is yourself in terms of trying to get that personal best all the time. It's not about who is competing with you. It's like doing your best each time you run, each time you go out there, each time you wake up in the morning, each time you do whatever task you have, you make sure that it's your best. So you are your own best competitor. Such a Capricorn. She's a Capricorn, December 27th. And so she'll turn 36, but she will have the unmatched feat of earning 5 100 gold medals at the age of 35. Thank you, Shelly Ann Fraser, for your example. Another highlight from this, the men's 100-meter sweep, the U.S. Fred Curley, who was a 400-meter bronze medalist in 2019, earned the gold medal in the 100-meter. Then you had Marvin Bracey earn the silver. And then you had Trayvon Bromell, who was favored to win in the Olympics, who won the Olympic trials. So it was awesome all around. I was glad to see Fred Curley earn the gold. I did want to see Lamont Marcel Jacobs run against him, but he was affected by injury. I didn't like Lewis Johnson's question to him after he ran his heat. How was your injury? It was like, come on, let's support. Let's not, I know it's U.S. Lewis, but you shouldn't have asked him that. Just ask him how he ran it. Keep it positive, upbeat, because all that energy that he received, he was like, oh, I can't run. And it would have been an amazing competitive final. But, he was unable to run. He prioritized his healing. Marcel Jacobs prioritized his healing. Marcel Jacobs, who was the Olympic medalist and who was supposed to be in this final, but could not, he said, because of the injury. Stephen Gardner, the 400-meter runner, also withdrew from this World Championships because of injury. But in the 100-meter, congratulations to Fred Curley on the gold medal, Marvin Bracey, and St. Petersburg, Florida native Trayvon Bromell for earning the bronze in the 100-meter. I was so glad to see Karani James competing yet again. I believe he's the only 400-meter runner to earn a Olympic medal in 3 consecutive Olympics. In London, he earned the gold. In Rio, he earned the silver behind Wade Van Niekerk. And in Tokyo, he earned the bronze. He just edged Michael Cherry, who I believe is going to earn a medal at this World Championships, because the men's 400 is Thursday. I believe that final is Thursday. So so glad to see Karani James, the amazing Virgo runner, born September 1st, 1992. And his coach is Harvey Glantz, and he every time I see him run, especially that last 100, he just brings life into the sport. And he's such an amazing sportsman. He demonstrates the best sportsmanship I've seen of any other athlete. And he's from a very special island with a very powerful history, Grenada, that produced amazing thinkers like Merle Collins, a professor now here in the States, and the amazing leader, Jacqueline Kreft, and the amazing leader, politician Maurice Bishop, who Reagan and his cronies chose to assassinate. But we thank Grenada for the amazing mind and athletes they produced, and Karani James always lifting the 400 and showing any runner who competes against him, bring your A game, because if you don't, you will be humiliated. Amazing competitor. So glad to see him again compete. He advanced from the heat and will be in the semifinal that's coming up. Shawnee Miller-Weibo, the two-time Olympic gold medalist. I was so happy to see her, and I love that photo. I was trying to get it fuller, but yes, that's a beautiful shot of the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest. It's the first time she's competed there. What an amazing heat! First, she there were 6 heats in the 400, and hers was the first. Um, the way she ran it was very interesting. She led the whole way. She was at least like, I would say it looked like she was like 10 feet, 15 feet ahead of everybody from the beginning, especially with 300 to go. And then she just slowed down just before the line, like literally, in order to get that time closer to but she looks like she looks like she's gonna be a gold medalist, you know. From the way she ran that heat, I saw every single heat after. Lady Paulino, who was the Olympic silver medalist, ran an amazing heat. But Shawnee Miller, the way she ran that, she looks like she has the gold medal in the 400. And I look forward to reporting to you this time next week that she's in fact earned that gold medal. Fiordalisa Cofield, the very first relay in these world championships were the mixed relay, 4x400 mixed relay, where man, woman, woman. And the U.S. had Allison Felix running with Vernon Norwood uh, as the man-woman combination. And Cofield ran an amazing anchor. Her anchor was what got the Dominican Republic the gold medal because she had passed the U.S. runner who was the anchor, whose name is escaping me. But I want to thank Cofield for an amazing lap. Femke Bol was the Dutch runner who was the anchor for the Netherlands. And what an amazing anchor she had because she came right through at the end to earn, I believe she earned silver. Yes, she had passed the US runner, but they still got a medal for Allison Felix, which would be her last competition. But she will probably, Cofield, she will definitely final. I don't know if she'll medal because there's Shawnee Miller, then there's Lady Paulino. She may get a bronze, but then you have Talitha Diggs for the U.S., who ran an amazing final in the U.S. Nationals. So um, we'll see. It's going to be an exciting final. The 400 meter always, especially women's, is much more competitive than the men's. It could be anybody's race. And I believe the final for the women's 400 is Thursday. What was a highlight of Lewis Johnson's interview with Talitha Diggs in the middle is Jackie Joyner Kersee. What a pleasure to hear her voice. Her voice is so healing. Positive memories I have of watching her with my dad and my mom at the 92 Barcelona Olympics and the 96 Atlanta Olympics. Just her competitiveness, her support in 2008 of Dawn Harper, her support of numerous athletes, her philosophy about running. One thing she said that I always remember as an athlete myself is you got to get the jitters out when you compete. You know, it's one thing to practice, and then um, competition is a different thing. You have to be on a certain emotional, mental level. That calmness that she demonstrates all the time is something that I applaud her for. So it was awesome to hear her after Talitha Diggs's heat in the 400 talk to Lewis Johnson. And then I can't leave discussion of the World Championship so far on day 3. It started on Friday without without congratulating Grant Holloway on his gold medal in the men's 110-meter hurdles. Congratulations, Grant, for defending your world title since Doha in 2019. You came back, and I mean, you never hit a hurdle, not even close. Otto Bolden was saying that in the last 3 hurdles, the field is catching up to you because you jumped those last three too high. But for me, it doesn't make a difference because your technique wins. Your technique constantly wins. So congratulations to you, Brent Holloway, on your gold medal. Okay, check out these. Check out these World Championships. You can watch it on NBC Sports app, and check out the. Just make sure you see who's winning and see how track is a metaphor for life. Okay, you can't win unless you try, and your biggest competitor is not the person next to you. It's yourself. God bless you.